Hi everybody, it's Kim from Inside My Money, and I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to answer today. I've been asked a couple of questions, and thank you very much for those. They're always welcome, so keep them coming. The first one was from someone who has been using a spreadsheet, and they wanted to know how they could add up their expenses and also track their bank balance. Now, if you're doing this in a spreadsheet, obviously you're going to be able to combine all your categories together, and you can do that in quite a flexible way as you're tracking your bank balance. It's a little bit limited in Homebank, but I will definitely show you one quick way of doing that, and hopefully that helps out our viewer with their question. Now I'm going to answer a second question straight after that, and that's from someone who wants to understand more of the double entry side of the transactions. So if you just want to watch the first tip, then that's cool, watch that, and then you can keep scrolling through all your YouTube channels. Otherwise, if you do want to understand more about the double entry side of it, then I'll keep going and I'll show you, and I've got an explanation in Excel to help me explain it. So first things first. So this person wanted to get a picture of how much they're spending during a month and tracking their spending, but also tracking their bank balance. So one thing that I recommend everybody does is make sure that you personalize your front screen, because your front screen can give you a little bit of that information. So for instance, obviously on the left here you've got all of your different bank balances, all your different balances, and we've got the Abby and Sam's everyday account, their emergency fund and house fund, their credit card, a loan, and then they've got some KiwiSaver. Now I've also had a play around with this next one, which is your top 10 expense category. So if you wanted to personalize that, you could take this right down to last week. Of course I haven't got anything in there. Let's go last month. So if I was tracking this week by week, then you could go, and if you're putting all your information into Homebank on a regular basis, then you can go in and you could even do this for a week, and you could even do it for a day if you're getting right down to that granular level. So that means that you can then see how your different expenses are tracking. Now, if you have set yourself a bit of a budget or a bit of a target for things like groceries or eating out, then if you're looking at it every week, then you're going to see how that's going, and you can make some decisions as to whether you can continue to eat out for the rest of the month or whether you need to peg that back. So just remember that that's quite flexible in how many days and you can see. Now, to change these little graphs, you're going to be choosing different things in this menu here. So I can see by payee who gets most of my money, which is the landlord for Abby and Sam. I can see by account, and I can see how much my account has moved in the last over the last month. So this account, the everyday account's actually gone down. The credit card's also gone down, and then so you can start to see the movement of the account. But I'll take that back to category, and then I've got this final one on the right hand side as well, which shows the account balance, and that's the total though. That gives you a cumulative total over everything, so you can hover over the different ones and see where the balances are sitting. So there's the KiwiSaver. So overall you can see that their total equity, their assets minus their liabilities, or the amount of money they have versus the amount of money that they owe, is a total of just under 80,000, which when you look at this screen over to the left is the same here. So you've got about 73,000. If they were to completely pay off all their debts today and cash up everything they had, then they would have $73,000. And then the bottom screen is obviously when we do the posting, which I will do in a couple of days' time. Now, another way we can do it is if we go into the everyday account, and I'll bring that screen over here now, and pick just last month. Now, if you're doing this on a weekly basis or a daily basis and you want to see how your categories are going, you can click on each one, hold the control key down, look for groceries, and here's groceries again, and here's groceries again, and there's groceries again. Now, so by highlighting all of those, so you hold the control key down and click on them, if you go up the top, you can see that in total so far they've spent $170.80 on groceries in this account. So that can help you just track how much money is going to the different categories without you having to put it into a spreadsheet and add it up. And you're also seeing how your balance is changing. We can see with these guys that they do go through some quite high ups and downs. So their balance goes all the way down to $1,600, and then it goes back up again, obviously, when they get their pay. And then you can see when it starts to dip, obviously when their credit card's paid off. So there's a few things that you can learn from this. First of all, you can, if this is the main account where you pay your groceries from, you can see how often you're going to the supermarket, and you can see that they went on the 3rd and then the 10th, so that's once a week, but then they went 2 days later, and then they went 5 days later. So this one in the middle might have been a major shop, but they've had some ones on the side. Now they get their fruit and vegetables from a co-op, so that's why there's the $15. So if we ignore the $15, then we can see that they're doing a major shop there on the 12th, and then they're not doing anything else really until the 24th and then the 25th. So that's actually not a lot of money going through that account for groceries. If we go, however, to the credit card, that will give us a better picture of grocery behaviour. So we go last month, and let's see, groceries. So they've spent $700 through the credit card, which is probably the major way they pay for groceries. But you can see they've gone on the 1st, again on the 8th, which is only once a week, and then on the 15th, so that's once a week, and then on the 22nd, and then on the 28th. So, and they're spending, that was quite a big one, $185. That was small, so there must have been just a small top-up shop. So that can explain to you a little bit more about your behaviour, and then you can sort of think to yourself, right, are we spending more than we want, and what is it that we're doing to spend that money? So they've obviously done a top-up shop, but then they've done a bigger shop and then 2 quite big shops. So when you add it up with the other little amounts going through the everyday account, you can see they might be going off to the supermarket a few more times than what they want. So that explains that in simple terms. You just go control and click on it. So control, click on it, and then look up the top, and that gives you the total that you're spending. So I hope that answers the first question. But now what I want to do, so if that's all you want to know, then you can scroll through now. Otherwise, we're going to go and have a look at the double entry side of how it works. Now, Homebank's not really an accounting software package, nothing like sort of Xero or MyOb or those other ones, but there is definitely double entry going on. So I will show you as an example, and I'm just going to pull this screen across. We'll use just whole numbers, general numbers, to make this slightly easier to understand, and then I'll show you what it should look like at the end. So let's use the groceries example. So in the double entry world, your groceries is your spending, and so anything that increases that grocery category goes on the left hand side, and if you get a refund for something or there's this reason why the money comes back into your account, it goes on the right hand side. So let's say we spent $50 on groceries. Now, so that's a debit side. Now what happens is then that category for groceries goes up. So now you've spent $50 on groceries. There's the total down there. But it came out of our everyday account. So we take it out of that side, because anything in what we call the asset is we have a positive amount on the left hand side and a negative amount on the right hand side. So what you can see there is assuming we've got no income, we've spent $50 on groceries and it came out of our bank account. So these two will match. Income minus spending, $50 on groceries. My cash in versus cash out, I was $50 less in my bank account. So that's the debit credit side. Now let's assume that we spend $100 again on groceries. So we've gone up to $150 in the category for groceries, but we put it on the credit card. So again, this is a debt, so anything that's going to increase that debt's going on the right hand side. So there's $100 on the credit card. So again, our groceries category has gone up to $150, but we've also spent $150. Now we have put it on the credit card, we have to pay the credit card back, but in essence our cash flow is down by $150. When we pay the credit card back, we're going to minus it out by putting $100 on that side, and we're going to take it out of our everyday account on this side. So our cash flow is still going to be minus $150, which is going to match our income minus our spending. So now when we get our salary is also going to go on the right hand side to increase it, and if we get money taken out of our salary, it goes on the left. And so let's say we'll do this way, because then that'll explain to you why that's on the left. When we get our money, so Abby and Sam get $3,800 each, so it goes in the positive side of our bank account, and it goes on the credit side of our salary. So now our income minus our spending means that we should be saving $3,650. That's our capacity to save. And yes, lo and behold, we actually did save that amount because our everyday account went up by $3,650. We've paid off our credit card, so we don't owe any money on the credit card. So our income minus our spending equals our cash in minus our cash out. So that's just a quite simple-ish way. I hope that that was easy to understand for everybody. So when you're looking at the end of the month at your income, spending, and your movements in your bank accounts, so let's go back to here. So you'll be getting out a report, a statistics report. Bring that over here, and we'll do it for the end last month. And when you look at these numbers here, we take away the percentages. When you look at these numbers here, then Abby and Sam have received $8,223 into their bank accounts from wages and some interest, and they've spent $4,693. So technically, their bank accounts overall should have gone up by $3,530.31. So then you can go back and have a look and say, right, so trend time, that's one report you can look at. And if you tick all of them, now don't tick the Kiwi Savers at the moment, last month. Maybe we will tick do tick the Kiwi Savers because they're obviously contributing there. You can see that for the month of February, their total was $3,530. So their bank accounts did go up. Now you can see each individual one of how, so you can see where they changed. So their everyday account went up by $841. Their emergency fund went up. They saved into their emergency fund. They spent, we'll take these out. Their emergency fund, went up by $300. Their credit card went down by $275, so they spent less on their credit card. And their personal loan went down because they paid money off. Their house fund they saved into, and then they put money into their KiwiSaver. And so that's one way of seeing where that money went, bit by bit. And of course you can also see a balance report, and you can have a look at how the balance changes again if we go last month. So you can see, without all of the categories, you can see how much money's gone out on each of the days of the month and how that's affected the balance. And you can also see that there's been some major amounts going out. That's rent. So then it gives you the scope to have a closer look at what that was. And you can say, okay, I had rent and we didn't actually spend too much on that day. Again, that was rent and a little bit of money. So they actually weren't spending a lot of money. They saved quite a lot of money in that month. So that was really good going. So I hope that answers the question. I know there was a bit of a longer post, but for those people who just want to understand what's going on with their account on a week-by-week basis, remember, you can just highlight things and it will give you the total up the top to help you see the total of that category. If you want to understand more of the debit and credit side, then you can do this sort of little spreadsheet, and that will give you an idea of how your money is being moved around your accounts based on what you're spending it on. So please keep the questions coming. If you've got any other advice on how we can make these better or any suggestions, that's always welcome too. But until then, have fun and we'll see you again soon.